Hi, welcome. Today is day 36 of my 40 days on the mat, and I hope you've been enjoying the videos thus far, and if you're just joining us today, welcome. Today is going to be focusing on proper glute development. And so if you're a yogi, you're familiar with poses like Warrior 3 and Lunge and Chair Pose, but what we can find is that a slight tweak of our alignment can go from us using the proper glute power to a totally different muscle that really doesn't have a primary role in that pose. When we think about the glutes, I'm just going to very vaguely section them off for you so you have a better idea. We have the gluteus maximus, which is the lower glute. This muscle is really important in hip power. This muscle is really important in balance and stability. The glute also has a relationship with the pelvic floor. Now that being said, my pelvic floor muscles, okay, so pubis bone to tailbone, sit bone to sit bone, it creates a diamond shape, and then upward into that lower abdomen area, needs to be firing first before we fire the glute. Many people use their glutes in place of the pelvic floor. So when that relationship occurs, we want to make sure pelvic floor primary, glute secondary. But aside from that, the gluteus maximus is that lower chunk of the glute. Sometimes you see people that have no butt, and it's really a lacking of that glute stability here, which definitely they're going to feel that in their lower back. So the glute comes in that lower section, kind of fans off to the side of the leg, and attaches actually down about halfway down the leg into the iliotibial band, or the side of the leg. So the glute muscle really wraps over to the side of the thigh, which sometimes we don't think that occurs. The other two glute muscles are the medius and minimus. Now they're kind of layered on top of each other, and they reside more in the mid to upper glute. For many people in a pose like Warrior 3, and they're kind of in this weird open position, they're stuck in the medius and minimus, and they're not fully integrating the maximus on both the base leg and the floating leg. And that can be a huge difference in balance and also stability, but also proper muscle development. If you're a runner, this is a really important muscle. If you do anything in life, if you plan on just getting up and moving, this is a really important muscle. But again, we want to make sure that we're always moving properly and we have proper alignment. When these muscles aren't developed properly, we're going to feel back pain. We may find that our groin is maybe a little bit tight. We may find that our hamstrings are not working to the best of their ability. We don't have as much power to take off or to stop and start from a run or from a race. We're also going to find that poses like half moon, chair pose, lunge are all not going to be as effective as they could otherwise be. So today we're going to be working through some various movements, some very yogic and some not so much, to really help us develop this power area of the body and hopefully find that we have stronger, more stable hips, a better booty, which is always a good thing, and a better relationship between the pelvic floor and the gluteus maximus. So again, when we think about the pelvic floor, I'm going to give you some ideas to think about in order to hopefully best help you create a contraction. Some people call this the bathroom muscles, but know that it's not a squeeze of the glutes. So yes, we're retracting in on the anal sphincter. For women, we're hugging in on the vaginal passageway. And then up by the urethra, the pubis bone, we're retracting that flow of urine. So as we contract in those lower body muscles, we're actually going to feel that contraction kind of in the lower front belly. You know that you're someone that's not using the pelvic floor if you're complaining about your pooch, okay? And this is no insult to anybody, but this is often an area, especially women, they complain that I'm good from the belly button up, but from the belly button down I'm really struggling. And that's probably because you've been using your core incorrectly. So if you want more in detailed information on the pelvic floor and deep transverses, make sure you check out some of my other videos and also my blog. I have lots of information in regards to using this area of the body effectively. And know that when you go into any exercise, this is something that you must incorporate in order to help create a safe, functional type of exercise and movement. All right, so for today you'll need blocks. If you don't have blocks, I have two 4-inch foam blocks. Cork blocks will work great. If you don't have blocks, maybe 2 low stools, or stack up some encyclopedias. I always really believe that use what you have available, and if you don't have blocks, you may find that they are really going to make a difference, especially if you start to see yourself in muscles that you never felt before. Your balance and stability may be a little bit off. Set the blocks to the top of the mat, one on each side, so that way they're available for you, and you can easily grab them as you need to. I'll turn sideways now in standing mountain pose. So if you're normally someone that really drops the belly out and overarches the lower back, more of a lordotic posture, you're going to notice short and tight back muscles, short and tight groin, overstretched abdomen. So again, we're very lopsided and backwards. So as I neutral the pelvis, I may start to fire muscles that I haven't used before. So make sure when you're doing these movements that you're differentiating between pain and discomfort. Something new you're feeling in your body, and your body saying, no, 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 this is wrong, I want you to stop. I really want to encourage you to follow the cues and guidelines that I give you, and if necessary, use the variations or modifications. It doesn't mean that you're doing less, it actually means that you're doing more. We've just been kind of taught backwards. All right, slightly narrow your feet now and bend your knees. You'll notice that I never come in and out of movements with locked straight joints. As we bend the knees, we allow the hips to move more effectively. Keeping the pelvis straight forward, inhale as I shift my weight over to the left leg. I'm not sitting into the left hip. I'm trying to hug the center line of my body as much as I can. I'm feeling the lower right glute and my core and transversus pelvic floor. All those deep core muscles turn on. Bend your left knee, kick it back, keeping my hips square. I'm only going to hinge forward as far as I can keep my hip from opening up into that half moon. So I've shifted from here to here. Coming as far as I can effectively, I'm really going to feel some work in the base glute, but I should be feeling hamstring and glute on the floating leg, so no external rotation. Here's where my blocks come in. Placing the blocks underneath the shoulders, fingertip your blocks, and now hug your inner thighs and lift your rib cage up. You should be feeling back and spinal muscles. You should be feeling glutes, and now reach through the straight leg, the floating leg, and at that last second, possibly consider lengthening the base leg. If your hips are tighter, keep the base leg bent. That will help you stay in the proper muscles. Now finally, either I'm going to stay on my fingertips or extend one arm out to T, or the opposite arm out to T. Hug the inner thighs and lift the floating heel without dropping the belly. Let's hold and breathe. 5, 4, ground through the foot without gripping. 3, 2, bend the base knee and float yourself up. So if you were feeling power through here on the base leg, everything right. If you were feeling some definite challenge through the glute and hamstring of the floating leg, everything right. If you were feeling spine or spinal muscles, awesome, you're exactly where you should be. Watch that temptation to arch and flare so that you can start relying on the shortness rather than lengthening and strengthening those back muscles. The more crooked you go, the more I want you to bend the base knee. All right, here we go. Inhale. I feel like I have neutral pelvis. I'm contracting on the pelvic floor. Imagine hugging your inner thighs the entire time. Slight shift, but I should not feel crooked. Bend your right knee and start to kick it back. All I'm doing is tipping and moving in my hip socket rather than in my mid-torso. Bend the base knee to help with the hip hinge, and as my back leg comes up, my torso comes down. I should never look like a macaroni noodle. Moving the left fold of the hip back just a little bit more to get some length. Bring the fingertips to the blocks. Great regrouping point. Inhale through the nose. There should be no pain or pinching in that upper glute. Reach through the heel and then extend one arm and then the other. Keep the base knee as bent as you need to. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Bottom ribs stay pulled up. Feel the lower belly rise. Bend the base knee, float yourself upright. Nice job. Feel free to bend the knees a few times and move the hips around, create some sensation and some movement. Now we'll work in repetition. Speed should never take over form and function. As we become more effective and we learn the right muscles, yeah, pick up the pace. Move as quickly as you feel like you can. But don't confuse moving quickly and sweating as sweating because you have a lot of good core power. Okay, so now again, find mountain pose. My feet are a little bit closer, so my blocks V out from my feet. As I bring the weight onto my right leg, again, I'm not shifting into the hip. I'm very much trying to stay lifted off that hip, so I feel like my base glute is what's helping me stay tall rather than sit pelvis onto bone. I want you to think about trying to pull your pelvis off of your femur head. All right, inhale. And exhale, bend the left knee, hinge forward. If you're choosing, either go arms to T, block, or inhale. Arms alongside the ears. Again, we're looking for that one long line. Hips are square and engaged. Exhale, bend your base knee and curl into a little ball. I can be here, hands on the blocks. Inhale, stretch it out. Either I'm going to T or I'm going alongside the ears. Exhale, into a little ball. Bend, bend, bend your base knee as much as you can. Inhale, stretch it out. Everything is long. And then back to center. We're going to slow the breath down for the last 3. Inhale. Exhale, hold. Inhale, reach a little bit more. Move your right hip, fold back. Exhale, bend, bend, bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stretch. Exhale. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, move the right hip, fold back. Exhale. And drop your base foot. Roll yourself up slow. Nice work. If you were feeling all through the glute inside of the leg, everything was working awesome. Notice how I gave you the cue on the base leg to move the hip fold back. As we get tired, we start to let that base hip creep up and forward, which gets us stuck here and here rather than here. Okay? Again, those little tweaks make a difference. Let's try the opposite side. Nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. As I shift to my left, make sure it's not an actual shift. It's just an intention of me coming onto my one leg. Inhale. Lower glute, pelvic floor. Bend now. Your right knee, slight bend in the base knee. Hinge back. If you need your blocks to regroup, I encourage you to do that. Lift the leg, never lock the base knee. Keep the quad strong, keep the knee as bent as you need to throughout. Square the hip a little bit more, lift the leg a little higher so I'm feeling glute without dropping the belly and rib cage out. Here we go, we're going to straighten out now. Inhale, stretch without flinging the hip open. Exhale, bend the base knee, curl everything in. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. Last 3, you're going to slow it down. Inhale, exhale, hold, move the left hip, fold back. Inhale, stretch, whoa, this is my challenge side. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, hold, keep it square. Inhale, stretch, exhale, back. One more time, inhale. I'm not gonna fall over. Inhale, exhale. I'm not perfect either. Inhale, stretch, exhale, bring it in. Hold. Drop the foot and roll yourself up. Great work. So if you're feeling warm now, it's because you're in your muscles, you're working deeply. That's exactly what we want to see. All right, move your blocks. And now come into a high lunge position. So I'm going to turn lengthwise again. Bend your knees. Launch your right leg back. I'm on the ball of my back foot. Level and square the hips. If you have a tighter pelvis, make sure your pelvis is not being thrown forward. This will make it almost impossible for you to effectively use the pelvic floor. Bend your back knee, and that will help you neutral the pelvis. Hips are square, so again, we're here rather than up here. Bend your elbows and extend your arms. Interlace your fingers. Hands can otherwise be at the heart if you feel like that's too much and you really feel your heart rate go up. Nice stretch, inhale. Engage your inner thighs. Exhale, bend the back knee. Now I'm intentionally squeezing my bottom glute and my pelvic floor. Inhale, straighten it up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, straighten it up. My front knee doesn't really straighten that much. Exhale. Inhale. Keep the outer hip, or the outer side of the back hip moving forward. Lower, exhale. Inhale, lift. I'm also feeling hamstring and glute on my front leg. Lower exhale. Inhale, lift. Lower exhale. Inhale, lift. 4 more. As we get tired, we start to get sloppy. I'm going to hold my hips. Last one. Step up now. Notice how bent your front knee is. There shouldn't be a whole lot of shift. Bring the back leg up. Feet are going to come parallel. Now sit back again without dropping your belly, which means the sacrum is slamming forward, takes you out of the lower glute and into the upper glute again. We don't want to be there. Draw in and up. So feel the pelvic floor, which is going to feel like your sit bones are hugging. We're not tucking. Sit back as far as you can go, trying to keep the shin as level as you can, or upright as you can. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, hands to heart, or alongside the ears. Now as I reach out, I'm going to feel that lift, lower glute and low back long. Exhale, hands to heart. Step back with your left foot. Bend the back knee, come upright. Feet should be hips distance. Square and level. Feel free, bend the back knee. Hands at your heart, or arms come up. Breathe wide into your lungs rather than forward into your chest. Inhale, everything is long. Exhale, engage the inner thighs, bend the back knee. Inhale, lift. I'm feeling glute, feeling hamstring and glute. Inner thighs are strong. Inhale, exhale. Keep breathing. Five more. We should never be feeling back pain. Inner belly is nice and strong. I'm going to bring my hands to my hips for my last one. Exhale, step forward. I didn't have a big throw forward. We shouldn't be here with our knees. Sit back, so I'm stretching and strengthening. Contracting, contracting. Shoot the arms alongside the ears. Wiggle your hips back, but keep space between the sacrum and the ribs, rather than space between the ASIS and the front of the ribs. Inhale through the nose, and exhale. Pelvic floor engages. Exhale, belly to thighs, and lengthen through the legs. Deep breath. Exhale, bend your knees, take a seat, come onto your back. As you come onto your back, knees into your chest, lower the feet down, neutral your pelvis. So you have a little bit of an arch in your lower back. This is your natural curve. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. I'm going to do the same leg as you. Lace the right arm through. I'm keeping my low back from smushing into the floor. Why? Because when the low back drops to the mat, the sit bone has just moved up closer to the ceiling. So you haven't really stretched any more deeply. You've just moved bone. Inhale, exhale, hold under the thigh, hold the shin, or grab a strap so that you can still get a good sensation. You can also go against a wall and place your bottom foot against a wall. Now inhale through the nose, flex both feet. Exhale, as I bring my left knee in, I'm going to press out with my right elbow, keeping the left leg on the left side of the body. Try to draw both sides of the waist long as you slow your breathing down now. Drop your knees to the left. Swipe your top arm around, lift up. I hope you enjoyed practice as much as I did. Until I see you again, which I hope is soon, remember, really focus on trying to be in the proper muscles, especially in the hips. Our pelvis and our lower back will definitely thank us later on. For more information, visit my website, hopezvara.com, and let me know how you're doing. From my heart to yours, from my soul to yours, until I see you again, namaste.